Hey guys, welcome to Movie Mclovers, and we are the Movie Mclovers, and this channel is called Blank. Hey Ahmed.
Hello, Amin.
Can you give me a Coke?
Yeah, let me just open it. Alright. Past that. Okay. So yes, here at Movie Mclovers, we're going to talk about film and video games and current events related to film.
Shut up. Let me start. So the first question we're going to ask ourselves is there any meaning behind the Big Lebowski? You know the Big Lebowski, right?
Yes.
Joel and Ethan Coen at their finest. So, is there any meaning behind it?
Big Lebowski. I think so. I mean, you don't have a movie that good without really. I think that people naturally are drawn towards meaning, and movie doesn't get that successful.
Dude, you know why it's such a good movie? Because it doesn't have meaning. Not having meaning in a movie sometimes drives a movie to be what it is, and it's its own genre. I don't think it's a crime comedy. It's a no meaning movie. That's the genre, and that's why it's so cool. Okay? You're wrong.
Well, I mean, the no meaning thing is often interpreted in a way that's sort of like, an allegory for life and how life has no meaning. And then you would often see the things where he dresses like Jesus and looks like Jesus. I mean,
he's the dude, okay? He's not Jesus.
He's Jesus is what he is. All right, he's walking around in
no
a
one
robe
thinks he's Jesus.
With a beard, with a beard and long hair.
But Jesus wasn't a lazy man. Jesus was a carpenter.
Yeah, but they're talking about the modern Messiah, who we perceive as a Messiah in the modern world is a dude. This cool guy. That's who we find to be the most popular.
But Joel and Ethan Coen made this movie for like audiences who love film, and when you see a movie like this with it's hard to make a movie with no meaning, and when you pull something off like that, that's why the Big Lebowski got such mixed reception, and that's why it's such a great movie. I mean, come on.
But I mean, the whole it did get a mixed reception, I think, not because of that, but because it sort of tackled the whole meaningful movie genre in a completely different way. Because usually if you want a movie with meaning, you should go and you should watch a drama. You should watch something like that. But I think what's interesting about The Big Lebowski is that it has a whole lot of meaning, more than most movies, but it's a comedy. So people it's a different type of movie. I agree with you. It's its own genre. But it definitely has a whole lot of meaning. It's like absurdist theater in a movie.
Yeah, absurdist theater has no meaning. It's just a bunch of people.
Absurdist theater has a lot of meaning, more meaning than most theater out there.
Okay, it might have meaning, but I mean,
satire is what it is, and that's what The Big Lebowski is.
But The Big Lebowski, achieves like something out of nothing. Like the story is so messed up that you really can't you can't think about the story in a logical sense. That's why the movie movie's so messed up in that way, and they kind of make sense of that. So it creates the no meaning essence. That's what I think. I mean,
I think that the movie is not messed up, first of all. In the story, you can look at the story in a logical way. It's not one of those Tarantino movies where there's absolutely no sort of it's not like a very structured, what's that word? By time.
Linear storytelling?
It's not linear storytelling. It's not like that. It's a perfectly normal story. It's a strange twist, Mm-hmm. It's just something that's, okay, so instead of talking about film, instead of having a movie that's this rising action climax, falling action resolution, there is no resolution. They completely skip the resolution. Basically, the movie ends with no resolution.
And I think that the audience is left to figure out what happens.
They know what happens, though. You can't say that because they know what happens.
No, because there's no okay, Donnie dies and all of that stuff happens, but there's really there's no why did I go and watch?
Something does happen where they just go back to bowling.
What is the meaning of this movie? They can't. No one can figure that out.
The movie is basically a reflection of what's actually going on, and so in real life there is no resolution to every problem. There is no I'm gonna grab this notebook and I'm gonna sketch it out. I'm gonna find the address for this woman. Instead, he finds a.
I can agree. Maybe the Big Lebowski. Maybe it's an absurdist kind of movie. Maybe it is an absurdist kind of movie. That's a completely different genre. I mean, maybe I can come to that conclusion.
But it isn't an absurdist movie.
I think it's
similar to absurdist.
I think it's an absurdist movie. I don't think it's just a comedy. or a crime movie. It's
I mean,
more than that.
It is. It definitely is.
And it's an absurd. It's just a bunch of weird people. I mean, what you have
But
Donnie.
the thing about it that doesn't make it absurdist is that it makes sense, and most absurdist things don't make sense. It's just
It doesn't really
it's
make
like,
the movie doesn't
it's
make
like,
sense.
It's like, you know, I mean, just people are just saying completely irrelevant things. In the Big Lebowski, people are saying things that actually depend on the story. The story progresses. There's the whole rising action, climax, falling action, resolution, stuff kind of stuff. And
That doesn't really exist in the Big Lebowski.
there's no resolution.
I
in the
don't
Big
think
Lebowski. There's no
not, like-
resolution, but there's definitely a rising action, a climax, and a falling action.
I don't think
But
there's.
there
I
isn't
don't
much-
think.
there
I
isn't
actually
much-
don't think there's a climax because there are so many great scenes and there's no really climactic scene that the audience is like, whoa, that happened. Or
I mean, a
"Whoa,
climax doesn't have to be
that-
something that you just go, whoa.
I know,
that's
but it's
crazy.
meant to
The
be.
climax-
It's. I think it's meant to be the moment where everything starts, unraveling, and that's what I think.
And that's the
is.
climax. In the Big Lebowski, that's when he realizes, oh my god, this guy's a fraud. He's not really a rich guy. You know, the Big Lebowski. He's not really a rich guy. He's dependent on his wife's money.
But if you look at all of, there are no movies like this one, and that's why they can't label it as a crime comedy. I really don't think they should label it as
I
that.
agree. No one's disagreeing with you on
Because it's something else.
whether it should be a crime comedy or not, but whether it has meaning. I think it has more meaning than most things I've ever.
I think
mean,
it
it's
has
like,
no meaning, and that's what's so unique about it.
It's like, it's like Kafka. You know, he's considered one of the sort of most prominent writers because most of his stories are the weirdest things in the world. This guy wakes up and finds out he's a cockroach, and then his family starts like treating him badly. And I don't know what, but what it's about is this like capitalistic sort of consumer society, and it's a satire on that. And Kafka, I mean, if you've read his stories, there are weird shit going on, but it has a lot of meaning if you actually look into it. A closer look, or absurdist theater, UNESCO. You know, his stuff, you would read them or see them or act in them, and what you see is absolutely like these people are saying the most random things in the world, but what actually is happening.
I think the meaning comes down to your perspective, because sometimes you may think, oh, all these characters are saying random things, but I'm gonna make sense out of it, and if you make that conclusion that it has a meaning because of the Big Lebowski, because of all these random things, and that's down to your
did
perspective.
the directors and writers intend for there to be meaning? And I think yes.
We don't know that. We don't know that. We can't.
What do you think?
You can't say that. You can't say, oh, I think Joel and Ethan Coen really wanted to make something out of that movie.
I think they did.
No, I think they made it for fun.
I mean, what do you think? I mean, do you think they just made a movie out there and just like sort of regurgitated a movie?
I think they just made a movie for fun, a messed up, weird movie for fun. I don't think there was no. Let's get to the essence. There's no essence. It's not like No Country for Old Men or other kind of movies, that they've made.
Well, I'll have to disagree.
You can disagree all you fucking want, okay? It's good Pepsi.